Hey everyone, welcome back to Topher Drives, where this morning I'm headed on an hour-long commute north to photograph a car that one of my good friends is selling. And you're all gonna laugh at me because it's 9:52 a.m., but I am tired. This is a morning commute for me because I stayed up late last night editing my AMG GLA 35 video that you all would have seen go up before this. But this is gonna be a little bit of a different commute. It's going to be a little bit longer of a journey than normal, and you'll get a bit more of my raw driving impressions here on this Golf R. Obviously, I've driven a handful of these, but I've only lived with this thing for about a day so far. So we're going to get in it, we're going to commute it, and we'll show you what this thing is like to live with. We've got a couple of things to talk about with this Golf R because this is a 2024. The one we drove last year was the 20th anniversary. It had some special bits on it. It's kind of back to normal business for 2024. But the big kicker here, this is the last model year for the 6-speed manual transmission. And joy of joys, that is the transmission that we have selected here in our Lapis Blue test car today. I drove this car when it was brand new a few years ago out in North Carolina for the launch event, for the first drive. I drove it on some beautiful mountain roads. That video is over on the Topher channel if you want to go see the early days of Substitute Topher. But I emerged from that experience thinking, man, they've really made the Golf R better. They've made it rowdier. They've made it more fun to drive. Obviously, we'll do our little performance circuit before we jump on the highway and commute this thing. But we got to make this walk around kind of quick. Plus, you guys already know the Mark 8 so well, so we don't have to go into super detail with this car. Just know you've got just about all the hot hatch essentials. This car has plenty of room in the back to take things with you if you're going on a road trip, if you're bringing things with you on your commute. And obviously, powertrain-wise, the story is no different. This is powered by a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. It makes 315 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. If you opt for the DSG, though, you get 295 pound-feet of torque. So that means that the DSG car is almost a second faster to 60 than this manual version here. And power is sent to all 4 wheels, of course, via either a 6-speed manual or a 7-speed DSG dual-clutch automatic. Pretty dang good hot hatch recipe, and of course Volkswagen essentially invented the hot hatch, so they are still here with the GTI, with the R, but for 2025 the manual transmission is killed for everything in Volkswagen's lineup except the Jetta. They are keeping the manual in that for 25. In the back seat, it's a Golf R. There's really not too much going on. The door panels in the rear don't match the ones in the front, typical Volkswagen move, but we do at least have matching seats with the blue on our headrests, the little faux carbon fiber trim. Sat behind myself here, which this seat is in comfort access right now, so it'll move slightly forwards once I get in. I do have enough room, leg room and headroom wise, and you've got lots of little storage solutions back here, some pockets to stick some things. You've got this fold down armrest, which has, I guess, 2.5 cup holders. And actually something really nice about this Golf R is that you do get a little baby climate panel here in the back seat, which is something that you don't even see in SUVs of this stature. You've got a couple of vents, you've got heated seats, and you've got a little temperature adjust here as a haptic touch display, obviously down there in the middle for when the car is running. And, well, this is a Mark 8. We don't have to touch on it a ton, but it will be appropriate, of course, to evaluate the infotainment just a bit today as we do our commute. Because Volkswagen's argument is always, well, this is one of those infotainments that you can kind of set and forget, but most of us kind of tend to disagree. So we'll see if that makes me very angry on this morning's commute. Before we jump on the road, let's just quickly show you this 2-liter turbocharged inline 4. Volkswagen doesn't really dress up the engine bay too much in the Golf R. In fact, they don't even give you hood struts. But that's it. There's no engine cover or anything. And, well, this thing as spec'd, which really the only thing you can choose is your exterior color, your transmission, and your wheels, the end of story. This thing is just under $47,000, and if you opt for the DSG, it adds about another $2,000, so you're squeaking away just under $50K if you go for the automatic. So I would probably still recommend going with the manual, plus it'll be just that much more special when you have a manual Golf R when they are all discontinued for the 25 model year. As far as changes go for 25, as far as I know, this thing is getting a slight power bump. I want to say up to like 328 horsepower or something like that. They're going to be all DSGs and it's going to have a larger infotainment screen, but I don't think they're really changing the way anything works in here. I read that they're kind of desensitizing the haptic touch buttons, because when you're doing spirited driving, it's very common in this car to turn on your heated steering wheel or switch drive modes or set your cruise control, things of that nature. So I think they're dealing with that as well. But I think for the most part, it's going to be pretty much the same. There will be some different trim options and such, but you can only change so much on a Golf R. They've got the formula pretty dialed in for this thing. So let's jump in, let's start it up, and let's get out on the road, because I've got to be where I need to be at 11, and it's 10, and we have to do a circuit, and then it's an hour drive. So I'm probably going to be a few minutes late already, but let's start this thing up. This Harman Kardon sound system is going to start playing my music via Apple CarPlay, unless App Connect is not working. It is right now. So we're going to have to turn this down with the lack of a volume knob. So you'll see me spamming this. There we go. We got it in time. So this is just the same infotainment, obviously, that we've been getting for the last few years in this car. It's laggy. I mean, there's no volume knob. There's nothing physical in here at all. In fact, this entire interior is very simplistic and kind of just barrenly empty. We're back to this normal trim here. We don't have the carbon fiber like we had in the 20th anniversary car we were driving last year. We've got these couple of cup holder solutions down here. I'm bringing just this baby water with me this morning. And you've got this little solution here that makes it so you can fit a smaller bottle, which is nice. I do like that. Little 12 volt outlet down here as well, but there's nothing in here, just a shift knob. You've got your electronic parking brake. You've got your 4 little buttons here for your climate control, which is all in the infotainment, your drive modes, which is all in the infotainment. You've got your assist and your parking menus as well in here. So, and you can set your theme color, which is nice. I've got mine set to blue, of course, because we are in a lapis blue Golf R. Number of different cluster designs here as well. There's like 6 different ones you can go through. That's a cool one, like your little race mode. When you go into race mode, it defaults to that as well. Let's get this thing out on the road. Let's commute it. Let's see what this Golf R is like to live with, because that is kind of the biggest thing with this car and the biggest thing that people get annoyed with. So, hello, Sean Bonet, shout out. Sean is the one sending me on this journey this morning. So everybody say hello to Sean, and let's get this Golf R on the road. See what she's like to drive. Backup camera pops up with the badge. No 360 camera in this car, just one simple reverse camera. I think for the $46,000 price tag, it might be nice to see a 360 cam in this car. And hey, I don't discriminate as far as 360 cameras go. You could give me a Fiat 500 and I would still be happy to have a 360 cam. It's just nice for ease of living. We're going to start today's drive in comfort mode. And then this Golf R has a customizable drive mode that I've already got set up for myself. As you'd expect, everything except the drivetrain, powertrain, engine, whatever they call it in this car, in comfort, engine, and race. So we can get good noise, but stay comfy. Some fun turbo noises here with this car. Hey Siri, turn on Do Not Disturb.
Okay, Do Not Disturb is now on.
My friends always choose the mornings I'm filming to blow up the group chats. As a manual transmission car, this Golf R is pretty easy to live with. Very forgiving clutch. it's easy to navigate. If you're someone that isn't super familiar with manual transmissions, this would be a nice car to start with. It'd be a nice car to learn on. It's easy to drive. It's easy to rev match. So we'll go around on the right today. Let's quickly throw this into its race mode, Nürburgring mode. Yeah, let's just go all the way here for this corner. Why not? Plenty of power, plenty of torque to pull you out of the corner. This thing's quick. This is a good level of power for this car. And we touched briefly on the GLA 35 earlier. This feels quite a bit faster than that. And that car was like $30,000 more expensive. I think this would beat it in a race, especially in DSG form. It would leave it for dead. This thing bumps the idle up to like 1400 RPM when you're in race mode. Let's stick this back into, actually let's put it in my custom mode. Might as well make everything cozy, but hear that engine just a little bit more. Pretty proud of myself, looking like I'm only going to be 1 minute late here, 53 minutes on the highway. Of course, all your different widgets here in the cluster, those are all customizable as well. I've got this on Boost PSI, and I've got a G meter on the right, because why not have some fun with things? Beautiful torque and confidence to get you merged onto the highway. Absolutely no problem there whatsoever. And honestly, guys, once you get this thing out on the highway, this is where the Golf R starts to make sense dynamically and comfort-wise. Because this is kind of mocked, and I'll be honest, myself included, as like the businessman's hot hatch. It's not the rowdiest. It's not as loud or obnoxious as a Kona N or an Elantra N, and it really isn't as nerdy as a Honda Civic Type R as far as doing lap times and things like that, but it kind of splits the difference nicely in the way that you still get a little bit of fun factor, but also you're able to daily drive this car. You're able to stay comfortable in this thing. I want to say we're on a set of some Bridgestone something or other, you know, summer performance tires, but even those aren't that loud. I think going straight from the GLA 35 to this was good, because I can see what a car that honestly was probably a little bit too hardcore for what it was, going into this, feels like it splits the difference really nicely. It's already beginning. I am getting hot, which means I need to adjust my climate control. So let's go ahead and do that now. Your first step is to push the climate button. You're then given this display. You have to navigate where your fan speed is. Obviously, if you own this car, that'll be easy for you. I suppose the best form of action here is to let the car start driving for you before you get yourself into the climate control, which means you should probably set your cruise control first, which we'll do like so. Set that to 70 miles an hour, which is going 63, because there's a car going slow in front of us. All I want to do is adjust my climate. That's all I want to do. Oh, and the climate screen's gone. How do I go up by increments of 1? Oh, you flick up. Nope, that's up to 80, whatever. Just let it do its thing. I suppose at this point you could argue that you can use these buttons right here to adjust your temperature. But if you wanted to switch, where the air is flowing or literally any other metric of your climate control, not only do you have to go into the infotainment and do that, you have to do it before it times out. Give you guys a second to observe our NVH here in the Golf R. Again, pretty dang quiet. And, obviously manufacturers tinker with these cars from model year to model year. And this is probably the best feeling Golf R I've driven as far as build quality goes. There's nothing rattling in this interior. It's super quiet. I don't really have any complaints with this car as far as sitting in it, being comfortable, being happy with the noise level here in the cabin. One other thing that's really nice about this is, honestly, once you're going above 55 miles an hour, ranging all the way up to the top speed of this car, leave it in 6th gear. It's got plenty of torque. Back there, we slowed down to 60. We're now up to 70. I mean, you just breathe on the throttle. This car is geared in such a way that when you're in 6th gear, at about 3,000 RPM is when you're at 70 miles an hour. So you're at a good point for the torque curve in this car, and you're able to have plenty of passing power there in top gear. What do you guys say we try out our Harman Kardon sound system as we kind of fill this little bit of the commute? Thinking what song I want to do today. I'm thinking I want to do this one. Got your volume adjust down here, or you've got this haptic touch one that clicks on the steering wheel. Both of them are irritating, I'll be honest.
Told you to walk away. That was my first and last mistake. I'm blue without your face. But what can I do? 'Cause I'm just a sinking ship, and you're just a pair of lips that I've lost in the moment. All I want is for you to come back. Now I'm caught in the middle of life, and I need you to
So there you go. Obviously this Harman Kardon is not a sound system that's going to blow you out of the water, but it's pretty decent. Volkswagen, they've been using this Harman Kardon in the Golf R now for forever, it seems like. The one good thing about this is you do have a really good amount of adjustability here as far as your EQ goes. You can fine-tune it a bit more than you can in other cars in the class. You've got a couple of preset modes here depending on what sort of music you're listening to. But this is definitely a manual transmission that you can get through traffic and not be annoyed with. What you will be annoyed with are the eco tips, which I believe you can turn off in the infotainment, but obviously they're always toggled to on when I get these Volkswagen press cars. But if you don't do absolutely everything by the book and do exactly as the car tells you, Skynet, it will get upset. So if you don't change gear when it wants to, if you drive with the windows down, it gets very mad. If you rev the car while stationary, it doesn't like that very much either. If you're running with the windows down with the climate control on, it gets very upset. All right, I'm gonna hang out here in this traffic and get another probably 30 minutes here into this commute. I'll throw the camera back on at the end, and I'll give you my final thoughts here on this Volkswagen Golf R. Let's talk about dynamics. Let's talk about what it's like to sit in this car. Well, you do have actually a pretty good amount of adjustment here with this driver's seat. You do have some lumbar adjustment, and you have 3 memory settings, which are nice as well. But the actual seat itself, it's pretty supportive. I'm getting minorly fatigued. It's definitely not like the most comfortable thing in the entire world, but it does the job. And I think the seats look cool. They're very sort of Porsche 911-y. Driver's compartment, it has enough room. My right leg is up against a pretty hard piece of plastic when I am relaxing, when my leg is kind of leaning to the right. To the left, though, the door panel is designed in such a way that my left leg has a pretty good amount of room. If it's chilling here on the dead pedal, that's all good. Elbow comfiness is good as well because this armrest actually moves forwards. So if you're a little bit shorter, you can adjust this armrest / center console to move up to your desired placement for your right elbow. And left elbow is pretty nice. The driver's door panel is pretty supportive as well. Steering wheel feels nice. You can position yourself pretty nicely in this car to relax with your arms, hands placed here on the steering wheel. Let's check our fuel economy, which the only way I've found to do that is in the infotainment, surprise, surprise, in the vehicle menu in data, where we can find that on today's 55-mile so far commute, we've done 28.8 mpg. Not too bad of a figure here for this Golf R. We're rated at 31 on the highway, but we did do a bit of city, we did a bit of traffic, and we did that spirited bit at the beginning, so I don't really think that's all that bad. Actually, this is counting my drive from my house to the warehouse or to the parking lot we started this morning. So this is my entire day so far. So 28.8, definitely not too bad. I'm sure instantaneously we are doing better. Long-term 25.4. So we're doing quite all right. Since refuel this week, 147 miles, 25.4 mpg. Quite a lot of city with that. So pretty good figure. I'm definitely not disappointed in that at all. Let's talk about the ride and kind of impact harshness and everything with that. This car is pretty close to the top of the list for success among hot hatches and hot compacts and kind of spicy little cars like this. It does the commute with such grace. If you can look past the very irritating infotainment, the actual driving dynamics of this car, this is what this car was built to do. And when you go over some of these expansion joints and just overall kind of imperfections in the road, it doesn't beat you up. And it's damped to be soft. Obviously, we have adaptive dampers on this car, but when you're in the comfort setting for the dampers, they're soft, they're forgiving. I mean, they're borderline floaty here on the highway, and I really like that. I like to be comfortable in my daily drivers. This thing does the job really, really nicely. Travel Assist is selected. ACC is also selected. Travel Assist is selected. So I can set this now and have Travel Assist. So Travel Assist should, in theory, steer for me a bit. I'm going to take a sip of my water. And I'm going to be a toddler for a second as well, I think, and have an applesauce pouch, but I do want to be going faster than 70 while I do so. Okay, scoot this back, open this up. Get myself some electrolytes. I really should get some food sponsorships. I feel like that would be the best thing to do for this channel, because we can kind of just eat them as we go on our commutes. You guys ever be like driving down the highway and you see somebody genuinely eating like an entire complex like breakfast sandwich bagel thing, and you think, how is that not just getting literally everywhere, all over yourself and your seat and your carpet and everything? I don't know. ACC slowing down there. I do have the distance set, I believe, to the closest. It still follows pretty far. Small inputs and movements here on the steering while you're on the highway do feel natural. You don't feel like you're going to send it careening into the guardrail. Additionally, all of the inputs in this car are just really nice. The steering, Obviously, apart from just ping-ponging on the highway, steering feel is nice. Throttle tuning is beautiful on this car. The one thing I do wish it had was auto blip, because I feel like for 46 grand, especially in this segment where I think every other car has auto blip, and especially in a rendition of this car that is kind of on the luxurious side, probably should have auto rev matching. But as far as a commuter, it's done the job pretty well this morning. Let's get a final read on our fuel economy, which I've probably just spoiled by downshifting. 29.5. Yes, machine. Very good. So driving conservatively, easily obtainable 30 mpg with this car. It's comfortable to sit in. The ride is nice. Don't expect this Golf R to beat you up, because it simply does not. This is a hot hatch that you can get in, you can daily drive. And that's the best part about the Golf R, and even the GTI. The GTI does pretty much the same thing. Going to a newly built Ford store, which I think I just passed, but that's okay, because we'll be able to wrap the video up here. All right, guys, well, this is not where I'm going, but it is where we're gonna wrap the video today. So, you know, Golf R, pretty dang good car, hot hatch for commuting. I would say it's probably top of its class to do the whole daily driving thing. And, you know, that says a lot. You're paying up for this car close to 50 grand. But again, if you don't want to go full R, you think you can get away with the GTI, it's going to give you a pretty similar experience. The Golf R is a little bit more refined. Plus, you get that all-wheel drive. If you live somewhere like Michigan, you want to have something you can throw snow tires on and confidently drive year-round. This would be a good choice for you. But otherwise, like I've said a million times, it's done everything well. Hopefully for 2025, this infotainment is improved. I know they aren't giving us a volume knob or anything like that, but hopefully the UI and everything is improved. Maybe things will react a little bit faster in this car. But otherwise, the important bits, the way this car drives, steering feel, ride comfort, clutch shifter action, all of that is dialed in. And I think that's the most important part for a car like this. So let's shut it off. Let's step out. Let's give you one last look at this Mark 8 Golf R, the last year of the pre-facelift Mark 8, the last year of the 6-speed manual transmission. If you guys are curious to learn more about the Mark 8 Golf R, we have a number of other videos on this on TOPHR Drives. I've got one with the 20th anniversary car I was driving last year, and over on the TOPHR, I have my video from the first drive event, and the TOPHR has his couple of videos with the press cars we've had over the last couple of years. So plenty of Golf R content to go around. This was more so just to show you what it was like to commute in this thing and live with it. So that'll wrap it up for us today. Again, please, any questions you have, leave those in the comments, but that'll wrap it up for us today. Thank you guys again all so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care. Ah, little baby turkeys. Oh my goodness, I've never seen baby turkeys.